As your main source of income, what are the ins? What are the outs? What are the numbers? First, let's look through the market margins. Today on market margins, during the COVID era, one of the worst hit sectors was the hospitality industry. Now, the years between early 2020 and mid-2022 saw the largest dip within this sector, where earnings towards the gross domestic product went down from almost $8 billion in late 2019 to half of that at $4 billion in 2020. This was occasioned by global shutdowns, COVID-19 testing requirements, and quarantine mandates. Due to this, a lot of hoteliers were forced to take drastic measures to cut down on spendings, including closing down branches and reducing their staff. Some of the hotels that were hit during this era closed down fully and have never made a return to the tourism scene. Things are, however, looking up for the sector now. 2023 has seen a drastic improvement in the margins of hotels in the country, where Kenyans took a new liking to domestic tourism for meeting incentive conferences and exhibition tourism, that is MICE, and a steady improvement of staycations even in city centres has conveniently coincided with the full swing back of tourist visits, pushed by a new vigour after lockdown. So what are the margins exactly? According to the Ministry of Tourism, the sector now contributes to 10.4% of the GDP. This is almost a full-on rebound, making an 80% growth from the 2020 dip. This translates to a growth of international visitors from around 870,446 to more than 1.4 million such visitors. Local travelers have also almost doubled, from about 146,000 to more than 260,000. This means that job retention and employee uptake has also increased, where there were major cutoffs. The sector now employs more than 5% of the Kenyan workforce directly, and thousands benefiting from it indirectly. Air travel has also benefited immensely from this turnaround, with a whopping 31% of travelers using this as a preferred mode of transportation. 40% of such travelers cited leisure and tourism as their purpose of visiting. So what does this mean? Air travel agents and airlines have benefited immensely from this turnaround, especially considering that Kenya's top source market is still the United States, seeing inflows of about 200,000 plus yearly visitors. Visitors who bring much needed foreign exchange for the growth of this economy. And after getting a brief background in the market margins, today we speak about the hoteliering sector and, of course, the hospitality sector in extension. We already have our entrepreneur for the week. If you could just start by introducing yourself. What is your name? What institution do you represent?
Here, the institution is Ngong Hills Hotel. My name is Patrick Wamai. I'm the managing director of the hotel, and we've been running this hotel from inception until now.
Could you just give us a brief history of Ngong Hills Hotel? It was here before a lot of establishments on this road. What is the history?
We were the first commercial enterprise on this road, and that was in the mid-70s when it was built. And we've grown ourselves, and we evolved over time. Refurbishment, and that it's just taken us for the last 40 years. It's just been continuous refurbishment and fixing up.
Within those 40 years, when was the peak of Ngong Hills Hotel?
I would say just before COVID and after COVID. Yeah, before and after COVID. So there's a time in after COVID was when we entered. That's what our peak is.
So definitely there was a dip.
There was a dip. There's been a crazy dip over time. Sometimes it's been bad. During COVID was the worst experience we've ever had in the hotel.
What would you say was your foot traffic? Pre-COVID era, what exactly was this hotel like? What were some of the services you were offering? What was attracting people into this hotel?
In the 70s and 80s, we were basically a tourist hotel, 100% tourist. And we moved from there and moved into local. So it's still now when we're a hybrid, we're both local and tourist. And it's working both well. We're working well in that way. Because the tourist market, the local market is also big, the domestic market is also picked up quite good. And with the tourist market as it is, it's also, so we're a hybrid of both of those markets. And also then the conferencing. There's a conferencing, seminars, workshops, and those type of local industries that are coming up.
Of course, maize is a big seller. However, it took a hit during the COVID season. What exactly was it like in the hospitality sector during COVID-19 era?
Well, for us, it was a big hit. You know, first we got rid of about, we laid off a lot of staff. We had to. And we had to close a lot of rooms because there was no traffic. We were very few. I think at one time even we were about less than 10 workers here in the hotel. And it was almost like semi-closed. It was that bad. It was that bad. We've never had that in all our years, all our 40 years, we've never had that sort of downturn. It was that bad, yes.
So 2020 was, of course, one of the worst years, especially for the hospitality industry. 2022 was where the rebound was starting. When exactly did this upturn begin for you?
2022, 2023. Those are the best years. They were very good years. 2021, we were still struggling. But 2022, 2023 started picking up, yeah. 2024 is also now, it's still on the pickup stage here. Yeah. Maybe we'll get to where we were in 2018, 2019, maybe by next year, maybe. Yeah.
So by 2024, for you as a hotelier?
Yeah, things will look as if they're going to be better. Yeah. Look as if they'll be better.
The government has been pushing a lot of investments into this particular sector. We've seen a lot of policy changes. They're trying to ensure that a lot of people are coming into the country and also pushing for domestic tourism within the country. How are Kenyans receptive of hoteliering and hospitality?
They're very receptive because with the upcoming emerging middle class, it's really working very well for us because people know what they want. So we now have to up our game and realize that we're no longer, the tourists that we're looking for in Europe and all that are here. They're local and that's the domestic. So we really have to up our game for our people, our middle class, and for the people that are domestic tourists. And I think we're trying our best. I think most hotels have to do that. If you don't do that, you lose out because it's a big market. The domestic market is very big.
For the domestic market, what would you say is a major selling point? What exactly attracts Kenyans?
Services, the service, the product you're selling. What are you giving it international standards? Not Kenyan standards, international standards. Yeah, those are the things that people are looking for. Yeah. That's what you have to give them the best.
So after the COVID era, now we've already gone through the worst era in the hoteliering sector. We've already gone through the worst scenario in the hospitality sector. There's now the rebound that's come up in this particular year. We're seeing around 25 new hotels are already emerging. A lot of people are coming into the country. There are conferences all the time that are being organized, not only by the government, but even private agencies. 2023, how has it been like for you?
It was good with the MICE and everything that's picking up. The hotels were booked, fully booked. As you said, there's a lot of conferences which are government aided, private aided, and they really, really boosted ourselves because we are almost full. Those are what we need more. If we can get those, it works for us very well. Yeah, it works for us very well.
And when it comes to numbers, of course, during the COVID era, I am assuming your sales and your revenues had gone down. Could you maybe give us the percentage? Do you have percentages of that?
They had gone down, but yeah, if now it's 100, we're doing, okay, let me put it this way. We're doing less than 10% of what we're doing now. At that time, during that time. It was that bad. Yeah, it was that bad.
And where do you see the future of Ngong Hills Hotel? In the next 5-10 years, do you see maybe there are going to be other branches? Do you see yourself going into other activities that could be bringing in more people?
Well, one of the things is that expansion is the key. How do you expand? Maybe expand with other hotels, other branches, as you said, other branches. Maybe go into the hotel, into the same industry, but maybe in different ways of seeing how to do it. Take up maybe service apartments. There's also service apartments. There's also hoteling. There's so many other factors. But growth is inevitable. It has to be there. It has to be there. It's the only way to survive, actually. We need to grow.
And maybe moving away from COVID-19, as a hotelier, as a person who's in the hospitality sector, there are other challenges that you usually go through. What are some of these challenges and how have you overcome them?
Well, some of these challenges, of course, are like challenge of labor, get competent labor, the challenges of finance, the challenges of the high taxes. All these are challenges that we go. But how do we maneuver through them? Well, we just take it as a day, as a time as they come in. And of course, the other thing will be to increase our prices because we have to absorb. They have to be absorbed somehow. So we hope we're not going to increase our prices and be out of business, but we have to do that. Those are things that we have to do, and we do them as we weigh and create other products that will be able to compensate for what we're doing. So it's a thinking process all the time. Yeah, trying to be really innovative, to try and see how more we can be able to turn around and still pay the taxes, pay everything else that are coming up. Taxes are high, but we have to work. We have to pay them and work around them.
You've mentioned taxes. When it comes to the government's front, what are some of the policies and regulations that are either to your favor or that are not to your favor?
Well, let me not say about not in our favor, but let me say that to our favor is that if we pay taxes, maybe the roads will be better, maybe the infrastructure will be better, the everything else will be, the security will be better. See, those are to our advantage. So by paying, we also get a advantage. We boost ourselves by getting better services from the government. That's the way I would say it. Yeah.
Anything that's against you? Has the new Finance Act maybe hit you?
Yeah, some of these things will hit you, will hit us, but we'll work around those. We work around those. Yes, we work around those.
And finally, for anyone who's looking into coming into hospitality, into the hospitality sector, into hoteliering, what exactly would you tell them?
What I would say is that we need to up our game. Right now, Kenya is an emerging nation, and we need to be able to have good products. We are competing with the world, and we've got our people here who really know what it is. Our Kenyans have traveled a lot. They know what they get in Singapore and Dubai and all that, and that's what they expect here. We need to give them what they want. Yeah, they know what they want, and we have to give them what they want. Yeah.
Right, thank you so much. And that has been the parting shot. Ensure that you adjust. If you're looking into going into the hoteliering sector and hospitality, that you adjust not only with the local standards, but the global standards as well. We go for a very short break. When we come back with the business capital.
Wanafunzi 174 kutoka shule ya sekondari ya Mabuko Kisii wafikishwa hospitalini kutokana na ugonjwa usioeleweka, huku 20 kati yao wakiwa katika hali mahututi. Kula chakula chako kwa umakini. Wakulima wajaa wasiwasi kuwa agizo la mahakama la hivi majuzi la kuruhusu GMOs nchini litaathiri dhamani ya lishe ya vyakula asilia. Na tukiangazia sakata ya makazi ya Portland, ni nani aliwahadaa wa Kenya?
It is now easier to report and surrender. Visit www.ufaa.go.ke and get started. Beat the November 1st deadline. It is your turn to surrender and report qualifying unclaimed financial assets.
Is an easy way out to make raw onion tastier and less pungent before using it to prepare any dish. After you cut your onions, put them in cold water and soak them for at least 15 minutes. Properly drain and eat away. How to keep your ice cream cool. Bubble wrap is a powerful insulator. While on the road, keep your chunky monkey from melting by wrapping the print in plastic bubble wrap. It will stay firm for hours.
Business Capital this week, we look at what this turnaround could mean for you as a hotelier or as an aspiring player in the hospitality industry. Now, investors in this particular industry are streaming into the country, with 25 hotels set to be set up within this year. This means the base capital for such projects are available through investment, and with a solid proposal plan, you would be set to go. So what are some of the factors affecting prices of a hotel premises or the services rendered? Now, a hotel could have many selling factors that contribute to the price per night or stay. This could be pushed up or down according to the star rating, the class and name of the hotel, the background and heritage, some of the perks of the stay, which could include airport or terminus transfers, activities provided, or provision of a tour guide. Amenities including spas, saunas, and even gyms, meal provisions, which could be bed and breakfast, half board or full board, the availability of MICE, that is meeting, incentive, conferences and exhibitions, for business travel, and many more. On average, prices of such hotels differ in different regions, where coastal area hotels tend to cost more than hotels in small towns, and hotels within the heart of high-end areas of the capital being on the pricier ranges. So what are some of the projections for tourism visitations in the next few years? According to the Ministry of Tourism, the number could double to around 2.3 million by the end of this year, considering the current boom in the sector. Then it would grow steadily by increments of almost 200,000 yearly till 2027. This would translate to more than 500 billion shillings in inbound receipts, which would give us foreign exchange. Right, and after crunching the numbers and getting the insights in our business capital, now we must engage our expert of the week. Right, and already we have our expert of the week today, or this week. We're going to be talking about the hospitality sector, the hoteliering sector, what exactly it means after the COVID-19 dip, and how exactly they're rebounding. Already we have you here. If you could just introduce yourself, what is your name? What exactly is your expertise about?
Right, my name is John Sonderi. Thank you for having me. I am a corporate finance advisor at ABC Capital. And we, amongst other things, advise. We've had the pleasure of advising hotels, a number of them, and management enterprises in the sector.
And these hotels were not very lucrative a year or two ago, especially during the COVID era. There was a dip, a lot of visitors coming into the country, a lot of domestic tourists were not taking up hoteliering. A lot of hotels closed down even, but now we're seeing that it's rebounding very fast. How exactly is the hoteliering sector faring on right now?
So right now, as we speak, depends on where you're seated. So hoteling is divided into two major segments, and that is leisure travel and business travel. There are other emergent sectors as well. So we are seeing a bit of medical tourism, sports tourism, which is quite interesting, incidentally. And sports tourism, we saw it start with things like Safari Sevens, and then you've got the marathons, and now golf is coming up. So those are the things driving. However, when we look at the numbers, we still see there's quite a bit of slack, and I suspect that's largely from leisure travel. There's quite a bit of bed space that goes unoccupied every year. So as at the close of last year, I think we were doing about just under 30% bed occupancy, hotel occupancy. But the beauty about it is that it's recovering. The magic number that the Ministry of Tourism has always been talking about is 3 million visitors a year. I think end of last year we were at 1.5, which was quite a leap from the year and the year before that.
Of course, and the recovery is coming in, considering that there are about 25 new hotels that are already, underway, and we are seeing that, the guest number has doubled. Now it's 1.5 million, as you've said, for this year. The Ministry of Tourism is expecting by the end of this year, going into next year, about 2-point-something million. So maybe we might hit the 3 million mark. But you're saying bed occupancy is still a bit low. So what are some of the niche things and the edge that a lot of hotels can be taking up in order to drive up some of their sales?
That's a very interesting conversation, and I think we will need to see hotels become more proactive. I think they're too laid back, waiting for government and Brand Kenya to push their agenda. But they can and will be locked out because the Hiltons of this world, all these are chains that are able to tap business before it leaves the airport on that other side. So what can they do? I think partner with say, for example, sports tourism. There are interesting opportunities there. There's the marathons, there's the rugby tournaments, African Cup. We managed to bag that one as well. I think motorsports, there's the opportunities there. There's the Kenya Rally, there's the Safari Rally, but then there are also other opportunities within the rally space. The other area I think would be interesting is medical tourism, also emergent. Kenya has very good facilities that can service even Europeans. I remember reading one story where a lady had a fracture and she flew all the way here for treatment.
You've already mentioned, the Marriotts and the Hiltons of, this world, and there is the traditional hotel setup and what hotels can give you. But of course, there is the emerging Airbnbs. For a lot of people watching The Grind at this very moment thinking, I cannot have a huge hotel for myself. What is this new concept of Airbnbs? How exactly can people take advantage of it?
So Airbnb is interesting. What Airbnb does is that it takes market, it markets for property owners. So historically, people would offer their property or build it in conjunction with the management companies, now the Hiltons and the Marriotts of this world. So this management company is able to get you the demand from where it is, and give you offer the service from your property. But what Airbnb has done is that it's democratized that business model. I mean that sector essentially, and now they're saying they'll do the marketing for you even if all you have is a room. But then, as it goes with these things, supply increased, and there's a good choice of rooms available. And incidentally, even established hotels nowadays also use Airbnb. So you're fighting in that space as well. So, but there have been also other emergent platforms that offer the same thing, but now for local travelers. So if, for example, I was going to Lamu, for example, or Kilifi or Nyeri, there's a platform, Nanyuki, there are local platforms that offer that kind of service. So they'll book me my clients, and then I'll service them from whatever property I own, and so it's an interesting space. It's emergent.
And I'm glad that you've spoken about that, because even local tourism right now is booming. It has doubled, from last year. And I think that came from remote working, and people were just looking for new spaces that they could work from. Yeah. How exactly, considering, the Kenyan culture, we might not exactly need what exactly the other tourists want. How can we change the hoteliering sector or the hospitality sector to cater more to the Kenyan market?
So I think both in international travel and local travel, I think one of the fastest growing areas has been in business travel, because people want to move to, you've got a shamba, you want to see somewhere, you want to do farming somewhere, you want to do whatever the business that you do away from Nairobi, because maybe Nairobi the markets are saturated. So there are these people who will always want to travel. So what I've seen some of the more mature chains do is try to engage with businesses that may involve a lot of travel. So microfinanciers, bankers, telco, because they move a lot. So they get into arrangements with these guys. Now, when you get into an arrangement with such corporates, now that's the opportunity to ask, okay, so what do you guys like? What do you need? What can we do better? Or how can we improve your experience when you're traveling? So I think the appropriate answer is they've got to be more market-oriented, more customer-oriented. Go out there, find out what people like, and that way you'll be able to improve the experience, because hospitality is all about experience.
Right, and finally, Johnson, the hospitality sector is traditionally known to be for very large investors. For people who are watching The Grind at this very moment, say I want to go into the hospitality sector, but I don't have millions, and I want to still take advantage of the investments that are coming into the country. What exactly can I do?
It's a very interesting question, and you're right. It's usually for capital-rich folk, but it's quite challenging. However, it's the Airbnb platforms that you mentioned, the bread and breakfast platforms. Those are communities that you can participate in. For those who are a little bit bigger, they are quote-unquote chamas of hoteliers, like Best Western. Best Western is actually a group of hoteliers that have come together to help market each other. Yes, you have to maintain certain standards and whatnot, but you can participate if you meet their minimum requirements. So it's obviously at that point you're not necessarily poor, but at the same time, you're not Hilton. So there are those sort of arrangements.
Right, and of course, this and many other insights here on The Grind. This is what we were discussing this week, the hospitality sector, what exactly the new investments coming into the country mean, not only for big investors and big, hoteliers, but also for people who are just trying to get a new grind, and an alternative source of income. I have been your host, Hibak Said. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. You can continue having this conversation with us. The hashtag is The Grind, or you can catch me at Hibak Said. Have yourselves a lovely evening.